Good morning, everyone. Hey, welcome to Unity of Boulder, Spiritual Center, Church, and Community. We are an all-inclusive community, and that's what makes us happy. We have all this beautiful diversity that we share. We have all these interesting concepts about life that come together in unity and find their way into the truth that frees us of our fears. So unity is all about transcending the natural fears that are foisted upon us by a limited thinking world. So we rise above that. In deference to that, is there anybody from another Unity church here today? Is anybody new today, the first time? Oh, right here, we have these two people. No, okay. Do we have gifts for them today? Yes. They have in the lobby, okay. All right, so just in the lobby, you pick up a set of keys to a new Lexus in the parking lot. Okay? We like to take care of the new people. We want to see them come back. All right. In any case, what we are watching happen, we are emerging from the darkness of the COVID pandemic. And we are emerging together. That pandemic is going to be used as a springboard into a new collective divine consciousness in which we will actually get how to live and let live. It's going to be great. So I'm going to be part of a dialogue with Syntysche in just a few minutes. So hang on, it's going to get, oh yeah, raise your hand. We have the gifts for you, right? Raise your hand if you're new for the first time. All right, down here. We have this handsome couple down here. Right there in the middle. Oh no, got the gals in the middle. All right, thank you, Sandy Spahn. All right. All right, let's get on with the show.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity of Boulder. Got a few quick announcements here to let you know what's going on here at our center. Next Sunday, we're going to celebrate the summer solstice, and we're going to do it out back by our labyrinth. We're going to start at the labyrinth, and then we're going to end up in this nice little park area back here. That's going to be led by Norma, and they'll be singing, dancing, and drumming. You don't have to sign up for it. You can just show up. If you have your own drum, bring it. If not, we have plenty for you. So that's next Sunday at 7 p.m. out back here. This Wednesday, we have collected, our community here has really come together in helping us collect school supplies, books, and bicycles for the Wounded Knee area. And this whole lobby, you can take a look at it and see just how much stuff we have to load this Wednesday. So if anyone's around this Wednesday at 11 a.m., come help us out for 15, 20 minutes to help us load up this truck. That'd be fantastic. And finally, we had a NIA class, a special NIA class that was going to take place today outside, but it has been canceled, so the water NIA class is not happening. So that is all the announcements I have for today, but now I'd like to welcome our friend Steve Hayes out here to give us a prayer. Thank you, Steve.
Good morning. So let's all just relax into this moment. Breathe into this moment. Let us all just allow any concerns and worries to effortlessly drain away. Father, Mother God, today we choose to rest in your arms. Today we remember we are the beloved children of Spirit. beloved children of Spirit. Father, Mother, God, Spirit, you know us. You hold us. You support us. Let us all let go and receive these blessings. For it is by letting go that we receive unconditional love, peace of mind, and clarity of purpose. By letting go of our limited thinking, letting go of our fears and control, we can remember that we are free, we are whole, and we are worthy. Together, let us all do this right now, in your mind's eye and in the depth of your heart. Feel, I am free. I am free. And see, I am whole. I am whole. And know, I am worthy. I am worthy. Father, Mother, God, Spirit, we are so grateful that in any moment and any circumstance, we can rest in your arms. We can rest in your arms. Father, Mother, God, thank you for this and all your infinite blessings. And to this we say, Amen.
Please welcome to the stage Sierra Samuel and Dinah Snow, two of our greatest soprano soloists of all time at this church for many, many years. We are beyond excited to have them back. So, okay.
Look at all these beautiful faces. So good to see you guys.
This song that we're going to be singing is by Grace Potter. And Sierra and I are in an a cappella group together, Alethea Rising, although our third person, Erina, whom I'm sure you all know, is moved away. So this is our first time getting to sing together since the pandemic. So it's a real blessing. I have seen what men can do when the evil lives inside of you. Many are the weak and the strong of you, but with the water we'll start anew. Won't you take me down to the levee? Take me down to the stream. Take me down to the water. We're gonna wash our souls clean. Take me down to the river. Take me down to the lake. Yes, we'll all go together. We're gonna do it for the good Lord's sake. I have fallen so many times for the devil's sweet cunning rhymes. This old world has brought me pain, but there's hope Take me down to the stream. Take me down to the water. We're gonna wash our souls clean. Take me down to the river. Take me down to the lake. Yes, we'll all go together. We're gonna do it for the good Lord's sake. Tried my hand at the Bible, tried my hand at prayer, but now nothing but the water is gonna bring my soul to bear. But now nothing but the water is gonna bring my soul to
That's a hard act to follow.
Yes, it is.
You can tap dance, right? And I don't know.
Hey, thank you very much. It was fabulous.
Our
Dinah,
amazing soloists.
Dinah and Sierra.
We got more of that coming too.
Yeah, we got more of it
So,
coming. Yeah.
Yeah, I had written a sermon this week, and I always write my sermons based on what's going on in my world or the counseling that I'm having, and I usually can find some sort of similarity that there's something that we're all kind of cosmically going through. And I was going through some things, and I went back to my dad's office, and I started talking to him, and he looked up and was like, "What is your sermon about?" We pretty much wrote the same sermon, but his was for the first service and mine was for the second. And he's like, "Do you want to just banter about it and we'll discuss this topic?" But my title was The Power of Surrender, the magic of surrender and finding courage to let go. Letting go of attachments and letting go of things that I'm attached to that are falling away, and learning how to do that in beauty and grace and understanding that something else is moving in as something falls away,
Well, I had just the evening before, I attended the Unity Choir rehearsal. They were in rehearsal Thursday evening to perform at the memorial service for Dennis Drake, who was a longtime choir member,
And
a
you will-
30-year member
most
of our
of you remember
church.
him.
And while they were here, I sat in the back and I just watched this choir that hadn't been together in a year and a half come together. And I recognized that most of the people in that choir have been with this church for decades, some of them beyond that. And watching them up here, I had a real strong sense of nostalgia, because I've been with these people for all that time and personally involved with so many of them. And aware of the fact, as I looked upon them, I had this insight that there's not one person up on this stage, and there was over 20 people here, not one person up on this stage hasn't had some type of catastrophe or grand suffering or even a number of terrible things happen in their lives. Not a single one. Well, of course, you can say that about anybody. Not a single person alive who's an adult has had a life, a flawless life where there's no big difficulties, challenges, suffering, pain. So, but looking at them, I wondered, how is it that they sustained coming to Unity for all the years that they've been here? And not just in their own personal lives, but in the world itself, so many different things had changed and had been troubling and fearful, et cetera, along the way. And yet they remained in, unity. They remained coming to unity. And I could see, because I know most of them, even to this day, are just beautiful human beings. And I think it has something to do with the ideals that unity represents to people. And that I think most of these people have risen to a somewhat higher level of awareness. That level of awareness that unity talks about quite often as being in the world, but not of the world. The world itself is a place where suffering occurs continually, endlessly. And we are going to suffer to some degree. But the thing we want to do is we don't want to suffer uselessly. We don't want to have useless suffering causing negative feelings and thoughts in our lives. So I'll give you an example of, when Buddha was just a child, a very young child, we're talking about Gautama Buddha, who became the avatar for the entire Buddhist movement. There's many, many sects of Buddhism as there are in the Christian sects. But the avatar that began all of that grew up in a fabulous palace. Buddha's father was a king that had huge values, valuable things, and a palace and lands. And he wanted to have his son live the life of happiness and joy that children have. You see, children have very little connection to useless suffering. They don't have, the useless suffering that adults heap on themselves as they grow older. But he wanted his son to grow up in happiness and playfulness and joy and peace. And so he set it up so that his son could never leave the palace area or the palace grounds, where he set up, guards even, to keep him from ever drifting beyond the palace gates. Because he never wanted him to see the world with all of its suffering and sickness and disease and the decrepitude of old age. He wanted to protect his son from that. And the son grew up there and had a happy, beautiful life. There was, these huge palace grounds were filled with things he could do. He would ride his horse. He would play. There was children. And all of the people that worked at the palace in that area were required to be young and energetic, and so they would never relate to this child the limitations and the concerns of the world. Anyway, when the child grew up and got older, in his teens, Buddha decided he's going to go see the rest of the world. He knew it was out there. And he conspired with one of the guards, who he knew and became friends with, to be his escort, to take him out into the world. And so the Buddha went out into the world beyond the palace gates with this escort. And for the first time in his life, he witnessed all the sickness, all the suffering and the poverty. He witnessed the pain and the decrepitude of old age. And it had such an effect on him that he wanted to find a way to get beyond it. Was there a way to help people get beyond the suffering of the world? And that was his ministry. That's how he wound up sitting underneath the Bodhi tree in the end. He went out, left his palace, left his charmed life, and took with him only a bowl to bathe with. And so what he found is what unity also understands. And Syntysche and I were talking about it.
So I went in his office and I said, I just need to talk. I just need to wrap out. I've had a year, this last year, 2020 was hard, but actually 2021 has been more difficult with the loss of one of my best friends to cancer, and then I just lost my dog Cozy last week, and there's just been a lot of grief. It's just been a lot of falling away of things that I am attached to in the physical. You know, we're always talking about in Unity that we can't be clinging on to things that are important, and we lost Dennis, also, who's a very close friend of mine, and he's been in the choir for 30 years. So I don't even know this church without Dennis. You know, I don't really know it without Dinah. I mean, it's like the choir, it's a nucleus, it's a family, you know, and it was so amazing to be all together yesterday. It felt like COVID was over. It really did. It was such a love-in. But we had this conversation on Friday before we had this memorial yesterday. And I was sharing with him, you know, the process of surrendering even things you believe that you're so right about. You know, like I share my children with a father that has a completely different belief system. And a lot of the time I have to surrender what I truly believe in for my kids to create peace in my life, so I'm not having my heart racing or not being able to go to sleep at night, because me holding up the tower of having to fight against this will of another person that I don't agree with, it's easier for me to surrender so I don't end up getting sick and losing my life because of the stresses in this world. So I've got these things that are, and I'm at the age where I think there are more things to be stressed out about. I've got 2 teenagers. I mean, I think he's figured it out. I think this guy's got it.
Right.
But when he had teenagers, he hadn't figured it out. Right. I was the daughter, okay? Right. I could piss you off pretty good.
You were a colossal pain in the ass. I know you're new here today. See, we've got new people who say, "My God, we came to church today. It's a Sunday." We thought, what is going on here? It gets real in Unity. It gets very real.
This is exactly how our conversation was in his office. We thought we would just share, you know, the truth. And we kind of do want to today take the veil away for all of you to experience what the center is about. You know, with what happened yesterday, that was the core of this church. And if you weren't there, you're probably new to this center. And I want you to feel a part of why this place has stayed open for so many years and what is so special about it. But that's part of it is because we get to be real. We get to be our truth. We get to be the expression of what God made us to be. There's not some perfection that we have to become. If we can eventually love ourselves and shine bright as the being that God gave us to be, then that's the goal. And to find peace even in the midst of the turbulence of this world. So I gave an example, and I didn't share this with you, but I shared it with my women's group this week. So last week, my dog had an illness, and so eventually I had to put her to sleep because she couldn't open her mouth anymore. I had to call it like the day before, and having to make that decision, putting a dog to sleep is just not something that even works in my reality. I've had over 15 dogs in my life, and we've only put down one other, right? Out of all of them, they all stopped drinking and eating and knew the process and went. So it's hard. It's like you feel like you're playing God making this decision, but eventually it was inevitable. So I decided that I was going to take my children, my boy and his friends, to Elitch's that day just to have a great day. So we didn't have to just sit in this massive sadness. And Katya and I were going to go do some shopping therapy at and go find ourselves the perfect shoes for this summer. And that's what I got. Look at those pretty ones. Just something to try to lift our spirits was something that was heartbreaking. And so the day before we were going on this outing, and I knew Cozy was being put to sleep the next morning, Tyler tells me his friend Josh isn't going to be able to come because his parents don't have the money for him to go. And I've had this boy over at my house a few times, and he has a little bit of a speech impediment, and he's a fast talker, and I can tell there's stress in the being of this boy. I can just feel it, and I just want to hug this kid. I just can tell something is harsh, and I just said, Ty, just tell him I'll take care of his ticket, and he can come with us. So on our drive down, this boy starts to talk about how he gets up at 5 in the morning to go to his football practices, and nobody drives him. And he finds ways to raise the money to pay for himself to go to football because his parents don't support it in any way, shape, or form. And then he started to talk about how he has this really bad grudge against alcohol and he'll never drink alcohol. And I was like, okay. And he said, I have a refrigerator filled with alcohol, but there's like never any snacks to eat. And we got to eat lunches. And I was taking pictures of him, and he was so lit up and just so excited. And I had lunches made and everything. And he said, why did you buy the ticket for me? And I said, since I've met you, I just wanted you to know that you're really important. So we can't ever really know why we get these turbulences at different ages, but this could turn out, having that grudge against alcohol could also turn and go to it. There's that fine line, and I want him to meet a mother that wants to see him and show him how proud I am of him going to football and finding that money and doing it on his own and riding his bike all the way across town to get to these lessons. And it just had me contemplating, why is there so much suffering in this world, especially for young people? Like that always hits me so closely. But to be able to do something wonderful for that boy that day as my dog was being put down, it's that servitude. There's something about when you really are down, nothing quite fixes it like giving of yourself to something else. Have you ever noticed that? Like when nothing takes your mind off the stress, like giving back to something really important. There's that, when people say, I'll talk about panic, a lot of people come to me for counseling because they have panic problems or having anxiety issues, and I've had that on and off. I had it a lot after I lost Maya. And one of the tricks that I found when I'm going to sleep and I'm feeling like my body's not going to go to sleep, my mind is so tired, but my body is awake, I visualize the earth. So it's outside of my world, my personal stress of whatever's, and I just see light around the world. And I just start praying for the planet. And I always fall asleep. Taking it out of my personal wants and desires and needing the healing of something right here, by taking it out of my personal experience and being a conduit of God's love for something greater that's needed. I always fall asleep. I always tell this to people, and it's a really good tool to focus on something where you're becoming prayerful for something else other than yourself. And when you're praying for something else, you're being prayed for. It's going to have the same, because your vibration is becoming one with prayer.
And that, I think, is the definition of the goal of unity. Certainly the goal of unity in Boulder is personal transformation, which literally is brought about by a surrendering of the limited definition of self. We're all born and raised in a Western culture here that provides a definition of self being that strong individual person that's going to gain control over conditions and circumstances in the world and thereby make his or her way a way of happiness and peace, prosperity, and all of that. Well, there's something to the idea of having enough self-esteem when you're young to deal with the conditions and circumstances of the world. But as we live, we will come to an understanding, if we're awake in our living, we will come to an understanding that from this definition of life, of being a personal body self in a world of separate phenomena, we will never find true happiness. We may find fleeting moments of happiness, success, winning at this and that, but eventually we recognize that life doesn't really become magnificent until we enter into the divine plan of the living, present God. God is defined as love and harmony and peace. And God is also defined as being omnipresent, everywhere present. Then what is the problem? If God is everywhere present, why do we have so much pain and suffering and so much, conflict? It's because people are not present. We grow up and we're taught to think in terms of the past and how the past worked and might work better for the future. And we're always operating in duality. There's always the past and always a future we have to make better. And we have to be better according to the world's design of what better means. You know, more money, being popular, getting on in that way. But the true ideal that is being shared by the Masters, certainly shared by Buddha, and shared by unity, is that we come to a realization of being one with everything that lives. That means we don't lose our complete identity. What we do is we recognize we're one with every living thing. And everything then becomes sacred. So the selfish, illusionary idea of life and getting mine and forgetting to be considerate of others or going past the boundaries of being honest and compassionate because it will work for me if I do it that way. If you stay with this and you just allow the practice of the presence of God as love and peace, eventually it'll change your mind and your vision, and you will start to see the presence of God in everything you do and everywhere you go. And you will be such a willing servant of the moment, so that the self that is always thinking from the past, how can I get on better, and how can I get the future to play a better game and according to my desires, instead of that, you're more relaxed. You still have gentle plans. You still have, goals and dreams, but you're no longer locked into the idea that gaining that goal in any way possible is the object of life. The object of life is that we should be absolutely happy in every given moment and at peace in every given moment without fear or concern. To get there, we have to recognize we're all part of a greater intelligence and a greater love that is willing to guide us if we're open in our living and arrive in that place where we're doing our spiritual practice and allowing some of the self-centered illusions to dissolve. We'll find our way into a life truly worth living. We'll find our way into the kingdom of heaven as it actually exists.
And one of the points I wanted to make with the story I was telling about Josh is that this boy should have never come into my world because he doesn't go to the same school as my son. He was a friend of one of Ty's friends that was just at a gathering at a park one day playing basketball. And Tyler, being a kid that grew up meditating and being in the youth program and being YU, he connected to the soul of this boy. So this boy has been brought to me. This is a divine experience. Everything that happens, there is no coincidence that this boy came into my world, that now I have my eyes on him. My heart is on him. I am trying to figure out how I can make this boy's next 3 years in high school much better, much healthier. But this child shouldn't have come into my world. He's not in Tyler's world, but somehow Tyler found him and plucked him out. Right. And brought him our way. And that's what just blows me away by spirit. How honorable this system is. There's something that this break is important for something for the soul development of this boy, but now it's time for him to be protected too. So I think that Myrtle Fillmore wrote something that's really helpful, who's the co-founder of Unity on this topic, and it's called Life is a School, in the book How to Let God Help You. This is a great book if you're going through challenges. Life is a school. The great schoolmaster knows just what problems we need to keep us alert and to bring out the wonderful qualities that the Father has measured out for us to come up to. This is our purpose in life, to succeed in bringing forth God's perfect idea of the perfect person or man. It says man, this is an old book. I'm not going to switch around, just switch around in your own minds. In the beginning, God created man in his own image and likeness, even as he created the little seed to bring forth of its kind. As lives the flower in the seed, so lives the Christ in me. The germ of God likeness slumbers in us, and it should be our true aim in being to make manifest this perfect self or Christ of God in our lives. All of us sooner or later come to the place in our development where we are no longer satisfied to go on living the old life without the knowledge of our oneness with God, the source of our being. Sometimes when we reach this point in our soul's progress, we do not at first know just what is taking place. We may become restless and dissatisfied. We may go through experiences which we do not understand. We may even be tempted to think that our good has gone from us. But just as surely as there is God, the one presence and one power, we shall find that all is well, and that we are but going from one room, as it were, into another, larger and lighter room. As we leave old circumstances, beliefs, habits, and desires behind, and seek to understand and to enter into and get the blessings out of the larger life which is ever opening to us, we are filled with a sense of peace, freedom, and assurance that all is well. We should then turn our attention within and devote ourselves to those thoughts and acts which make for poise, order, health, and success. So I wanted to share, I'm going to go into a meditation, but I just wanted to share a picture of our fellowship hall, which looks the way it did before COVID, but this was as soon as yesterday. This is the core Unity community right here. And if you don't recognize these people, then you will eventually. We want you to hold a vision of this, that we come back now. It's time, okay? We're using these ultraviolet lights to cleanse the air and the seating in here before you come in here every time you're here. We're doing it in the fellowship hall. We're doing it in the Sunday school, in the nursery, whatever rooms are actually being used by people in the office. And we want you to come back. This is a community where we get to be together. Everybody was hugging. Everybody was so happy to see each other. If you saw the camaraderie and the laughter, if you want to see what this community is about, watch the memorial from yesterday. It's on YouTube under Unity of Boulder. You want to see what a playful, fun, amazing group of people, that's the center I want to be a part of. There was so much laughter, and it was like going to the most incredible concert of your life. The music yesterday was amazing, and the song at the offering will be one of my favorites that was performed, that Sierra wrote. So I want to share with that, and then I'm going to take you in a meditation, and then I'm going to close with one of the songs that the choir sang. We're going to let you see the performance of the choir. I want you to be invited into this community and know that you are this community too. It doesn't take much to come in, just dive in. And if you're just by yourself, we're going to start having potlucks and picnics outside on 4th of July. We're going to have a big picnic out on our property with games and all sorts of, it's going to be a barbecue.
Right.
So 4th of July, it's on a Sunday. This is a great time. You can bring your dogs, you can bring your kids. We're going to have a fun, amazing time outdoors.
Or if you just want to become an instant, immediate part of the community, it's $1,000. I'm going to let you take all the rest of this.
All right, so we're just going to get comfortable in our seats and put our feet flat on the ground and kind of sit up. Don't let the back of that seat hold you up. Let your sit bones be your core strength while we just close our eyes and start by breathing and taking a deep breath in and then exhaling with a we're breathing in peace and out love. Breathing in love. Exhaling stress and weariness. Inhaling openness and filling the heart. And exhaling stress and inhibitions. As I take you into a state of communion with this greater power of love we call God, Source, Spirit, Buddha, Allah. Whatever word makes you feel divinely and directly connected to this source energy that guides and directs every aspect of our lives, if we will only let it. I want you to now bring an area of your life up in your mind where you are experiencing a lack of flow. A place where you have been feeling stuck and don't know where to go, and inhibited by something that's keeping you from moving forward. I want you now to visualize as if you are an eagle flying high above the circumstances, peering down on this little you, meditating on the topic or situation. Down below, you just see that little physical being, but above, flying high, you are the eagle that can oversee any area of your life. Look how little the circumstance is when you see it from the greater, bigger picture. You are the one that's making this situation grow and get bigger by your constant focus on it. You are already above this situation when you tune into this Christ consciousness, the highest form of your unfoldment. You are capable of facing this situation with grace and ease because you are a powerful co-creator with Source, God. From this higher consciousness, ask yourself, what will it take? What choices do you need to make to overcome this? Ask yourself, if I was brave and fearless, what would I do? Or do you need to speak up and ask God to speak through you? Ask yourself if you need to surrender and stop defending something about yourself or defending your stake in this situation. Remember, when you surrender, you open yourself for Spirit to blow in and birth something new for this moment, freeing you from fear and oppression and stress. Now I'm going to ask you to place your hands on your heart and breathe slowly and gently. Let your heart feel whatever it feels. It could be unmetabolized grief, free-floating gratitude. It could be love. It could be anger. It could be outrage. It could be optimism. And it could be wonder. Whatever is in there, call it good. Let what is in your heart speak to you. Let it be, and listen closely. Don't turn away if you can be welcoming toward what is inside of you, you are merging with the Christ consciousness within. Let's sit here for a little while longer and observe what comes to you in this place. Now we are going to come back into our bodies, feeling renewed, purified, cleansed, and filled with God's life force, excited to face this day and this week, so completely connected to this greater power, this greater love. And we say thank you, God, for everything. We have no complaints whatsoever. And so it is. We'll take an offering for unity now.
So this is what unity is about. We're all in this together. We're moving toward the divine awareness, the new heaven and the new earth promised by the Master of Life, Jesus Christ. That's what we're doing right now. And so we have freely opened ourselves to receive the truth that's going to help us find our way in our personal lives and in our family lives and in our neighborhood lives and in our community lives and in our worldly lives. We're moving toward that life truly worth living in divine awareness. So now, We still have people, many people watching this online, and you can tithe to Unity of Boulder to keep this ministry going in any number of these ways that are written up here. Just, tune into info@unityofboulder.com. And for those of you that are here, if you want to make a physical offering, you can place it in the basket. Or you can, if you wish, you don't have to make a physical offering now. You can, make an offering with your credit card, one of the dip jar credit cards in the lobby. And so there's many different ways you can support Unity of Boulder. But now, let's bring to mind that financial gift we'd like to make to sustain this ministry. And let's bless it with this prayer. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, because I give. And so it is. Amen. We have the opportunity to listen to Sierra and Dinah share their incredible music with us once again.
Gotta be in tune first, right? All right, here we go. When I open myself to the truth of the light, I see what's wrong in the world, it's just in my mind. I can't do it on my own, but I know that I've gotta just try. Keeping the faith that we're all gonna open our eyes. We're gonna rise. We're all gonna rise. Sometimes I wonder how we are going to get from sadness and anger to bliss, from doubt and destruction to love. Then I think of the power that comes from belief. I know we'll get some relief from this hate and rise up to freedom. We'll rise up to freedom. Yes, we will rise. We're all gonna rise up to freedom. Rise up to joy, up to bliss, up to love. We're gonna rise. And it seems like the darkest night of my life, when I've given up hope, given in to my fear, and I don't know if I'll survive. And then angels come and tell me to get up and fly, that I'm never alone, I am one, and we're all gonna rise. We're gonna rise up to freedom, rise up to joy, up to bliss, up to love. We're gonna rise, we're gonna rise, we're gonna rise, gonna rise, gonna rise. We're gonna rise, we're gonna rise, we're gonna rise, gonna rise, gonna rise. We're gonna rise, we're gonna rise, we're gonna rise. Do you feel it? We're rising up right now. Do you feel it? Then lift up your hands. Take a stand.
won't be here. We're gonna ride now. We're gonna ride now. We're gonna ride now, 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 now. We're gonna ride now.
Rise, gonna rise, we're gonna rise, we're gonna rise, we're gonna rise.
All right, let's all rise. We've got prayer partners available for you if you're facing a challenge today. This beautiful lady with the cloak on, she will come and find you if you stay seated, and she'll take you down to our beautiful meditation room. We do have a beautiful meditation room that's open during office hours. You can come anytime downstairs. It's blessed and it's saged, and it's a gorgeous place to come every day. We also have a labyrinth and a garden back here that you can, we have this property that you're welcome to play in all week long. It's just an amazing place, and come and get this energy. You don't just have to come on Sunday or Wednesdays. This community is yours, and take care of it and be a part of it. So let's sing
we also
together.
we're going to have some fellowship. We're just
There's
moving
food
to-
actually, and there actually is food and coffee and tea, and we'll meet you over in the fellowship hall today.
Fellowship
Let's
hall, we'll
try
meet you
this
there.
out, and let's do our fellowship again. Okay, it's
All
time.
right.
I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yes, I'm only here for God.
Yeah.
Make it a beautiful week. Put on your schedule that we have the 4th of July potluck barbecue that's going to happen after the second service on 4th of July. Bring your kids, bring your neighbors, bring
Is that
everybody.
solstice this Sunday?
All right. Great to see
I
you.
just want to say one thing. If you feel like standing up on a number like that, stand up and move with them. Do not sit quiet anymore. We are going to let ourselves out. We're coming out.